Welcome to Smart Means Business on Smart 24 TV. It's a very delightful day today, the 11th of June 2024. It's always a delight to have you. My name is Kem Chadarin and I'm joined by Mercy, and we'll be taking you through from this time 7 to 10 o'clock. So please keep it locked here and let us know what you think. Get onto our social media handles and let us know what you think about today. Now, the undertone of our topic today is going to be innovation. We're going to be looking at the workplace culture that basically gets to promote innovation and some of the other things that will be happening. But remember, Smart Means Business, we get to take you through the national, regional, as well as international news. So getting into that, just a little bit of that, a sneak peek, we will be looking at a couple of regional news coming in, what is happening in the DRC Congo, the lots of partnerships in between Russia and some of the BRICS countries getting in part of Africa as well as Pakistan to look at renewable energy options. We will also be looking at some of the different news coming in from Uganda, some sad news coming in from Uganda, some good news, a couple of MPs apprehended. We will give you the latest that is happening here. Mercy, how was your night?
Well, good morning to you, Doreen, and
Yes.
of course everyone that is tuned in to Smart Means Business. Yes, we are meaning business. We always mean business here. And of course, it's we have a lot of interesting topics and stories to go through. And of course, it's a pleasure having you on every day. And if you are a good viewer, you know how we do our thing. You know that we give you the very best of information that you need. Well, of course, looking here, first looking at what is happening in Uganda as gold mining in Kasanda, looking at gold mining in Kasanda, some of the miners complain of not being licensed to work here in Uganda.
Yes.
Kasanda, we've been talking about gold and was asking where could the gold be, but it's here in Kasanda district. So the workers, when you're not licensed, you're not able to excavate the gold.
You're not even legally recognized, I believe.
Yes. So it's that challenge. So maybe the board that is responsible for minerals should have them licensed, because if you're not licensed, there are always accusations of, probably, because that is when people are like, you know what, let me go and take it to the black market and have it sold, since
Actually, when there is no licensing in any particular sector, the black market will thrive. And guess who thrives in the black market? It is the middleman. Because they will give you the lowest prices possible. One, because they don't want to get caught. They don't want to get encumbered in all these other different things. So they will give you whatever price they can get, and then you get all these different minerals and this huge potential to bring in money for the country being sold at undervalued prices. Very, very weak prices. But of course, you have the fact that the country loses out, because you can't, this black market will thrive and you can't get the taxes, the right amount of taxes, and the monies that are levied really by different people here and there get into the personal pockets of people. So it's a terrible thing. But what else is happening? Why? Are there any particular reasons as to why this has been happening? Is it the first time or it has been going on?
Well, of course, it's I'm looking here at they have been allowed to resume mining after a very long time. Of course, based on their meeting with the presidential advisor, retired Major General Gertrude Njuba, they expressed concern over the emerging gold mining groups that are not regulated. And of course, he also reassured them on the long-standing license issue, and of course, asked them to maintain peace. So there are conflicts between those that mine and those that are illegally mining. Yeah.
And you've had quite a number of issues whereby people come in and then they basically hire out the land. There's hiring out that land, and then later on, once the different artisans come in and claim access to that land over a period of years. So it's really had quite a lot of drama, especially within areas such as not only just within Kasanda, but also looking at areas within Kapchora and all these. And then, of course, the land grabbing, knowing that, a couple of good high-value minerals have been caught. Then you find out also at the same time that different stakeholders come in, sell the land behind their backs, and before you know it, there's a wrangle. They're being evicted, they're being forced off the land that their forefathers lived on for years and years, and different entities are coming in, huge entities. Land. That is a sore point right now in areas such as that. It has been highlighted in areas that have oil. It has been highlighted in the northern part of Africa. It has been highlighted as well in different areas. So this is a point of concern as well that gets to really influence the mining sector in Uganda as well.
Well, of course, in the news, there's a construction of the Hoima airport, and eventually Uganda is going to be diverse. You can board from anywhere. And nearby, you have to go to probably the national airport. And of course, looking at the government signing an agreement with a Turkey investor.
Yes.
On working on... Is it the airport or the national stadium?
The national stadium.
The national stadium.
The national stadium.
Yes.
The Uganda government signed a contract with a Turkish company to build the Hoima National Stadium, which is going to be one of the stadiums to be used for the AFCON. The project will be completed in 18 months, and let's hope that will happen. 18 months, that's 1 year and a half.
Let's give it 2 years.
1 year and a half. This has to be done, and that's why the president gave a directive asking the Ministry of Finance to release the funds as soon as possible. It has to be done. We have to be prepared, and this has been highlighted from the very beginning that it has to be done as soon as possible. It has
to be done. Why? Because they dispersed money. CAF dispersed money, about 8 billion, each country to take a share of 2 between Tanzania, Kenya, and Uganda. So there is the money. Why not? They should start working on it. And of course, the government also has to invest more money. 2 billion is not enough.
Definitely. Well, this is going to be a 20,000 seater. It's the 20,000 seater, yes. And in preparation for the 2027 Africa Cup of Nations, Hoima Stadium is going to be one of the venues for the 2027 Cup of Nations, along with Kenya and Tanzania. The stadium will be built in 18 months. That's the intention, and needs to be completed way before the different festivities that will be happening. So we're yet to find out exactly how long this is going to take. I know the progress will be tracked, and I know a couple of eyes will be looking at this, because this is something that is fundamental, especially in the sports sector. Because
if you count from now till 2027, we just have a couple of few years.
Yeah, yes.
Just 2.
And considering that today is already the 11th of June, 2024.
We're already done with this year.
Yes, it's something. It's something not to take lightly, and this is why we always, get you on board, encourage you. Please check through your different goals that you had set. Check through some of the things that you need to work on, because this 2024 is surely going as fast as you couldn't believe in the very beginning. But all is not gloom. All is not gloom. It's a very good opportunity to set forth and particularly be very conscious and intentional about your day. Now that you know the time is really going away pretty fast. That is something that we have to take stock of. So what else is coming in from your side?
Still on the Uganda government. Actually, this is just additional on the 20,000 seater that you had mentioned about. But anyway, getting back to our topic of discussion, talking about innovation and how we can foster the culture of innovation. It's just that here in your workplace, well, I think it's starting with maybe talking about multitasking and all that, but then you have to realize that in Uganda, everyone is really not comfortable where they are. People don't want to be innovative enough. They just want to be in their comfort zone, because they feel there's that perception of if I innovate something, it will I won't benefit. I mean, how many have done it and they have not been recognized. So
and I think that's where it comes down to the culture. yes, to the culture. What is the culture? Is it someone coming in and dying on their own with no system in place to enable these people or even reward them? When you find these different, within the companies or even at home, you find the culture of innovation, creativity, implementation, but also the reward factor.
Exactly.
It actually legitimizes the fact that, you know what, I can come up with an awesome idea. I will be credited for it. I will be supported along the way. And it will come up for the common good.
Exactly.
But you know the challenge, and I think this is something that comes in especially in the African countries, of course it is dying away, is the fact that there are so many people who don't have the support, the support systems. And once they do have the support systems, even when they do have quite a number of good ideas, you still don't, the majority are not able to tap into the resources. And then the people that have the resources are very eager to zap away their ideas, their innovations, and take them. But we will be talking about the culture, enabling the culture, and we will also be highlighting some of the companies that have done quite well globally, not even just in Uganda, globally, in enabling that particular culture within the workplace for innovation. But I think right now, let's get into the press. We're going to take a short break, get back and get into the press and find out what's happening nationally. And indeed, in your new vision today, why 3 MPs were arresting. Some news coming in, not so good. Actually, there's been quite some eyesight with 3 MPs quizzed and detained over alleged extortion. This has been this is more or less a reprimand. And the consequences actually based on a new uprising against corruption in the country. And what is trickling in right now is that the 3 particular MPs had canoodled with accounting officers trying to push them to appropriate some taxpayers' money on particular areas as they wait for a kickback. That is yet, of course, it's still under investigation, and we cannot really ascertain what the end result is going to be. Coming in as well, excitement as King Gafabusa attends Royal Thanksgiving. Some news coming in from that side about how he attended the Thanksgiving service yesterday, and talking about some of the highlights, talking about more coffee being grown, and he's urging on to embrace culture. That comes up as well. Coming in also, Museveni meets Ukrainian ambassador. Uganda and Ukraine are good trade and citizen partners, and the president has held talks with Andriy, the ambassador to Ukraine, the ambassador of Ukraine to Uganda, resident in Nairobi. The talks took place on the 7th of June at State House, and the areas of concern really are multi. We are looking at partnerships between Uganda and Ukraine, and looking at some of the different topics such as strengthening diplomatic ties and exploring new avenues. Uganda is also set to set up its first technology university. That's some good news coming in. And that is
technology. Talk about innovation. We're going to
yes, and talking about the fact that we are talking about innovation. This comes in handy. Here, More News says the government is working on the modalities that will yield the establishment of the first technology university in Uganda. The move is one of the ways to address challenges of career progression among technical and vocational education and training graduates in Uganda. We should be able to see something come in. And then also we're talking about, considering that this is budget from last week to this particular week, on the 13th, remember, it will be coming out. So URA faces uphill task of raising 31.9 trillion. 31.9 trillion, and you get to see different avenues. How is it going to be raised? Sometimes what is projected does not necessarily come to fruition. So we are looking at that. There have been quite a number of urges and the necessity of increasing the tax base, as well as fingers being pointed at the informal sector in Uganda to hush and hurry them to get the formalization that is needed so that they can be as well play their part in contributing to domestic revenue. There is so much more. Get your new vision and find out what is happening within. What's happening in the Daily Monitor there?
Well, in Daily Monitor, well, for the people of Nansana, this is good news for you as government earmarked 200 billion to tarmac roads in Nansana. Quite interesting, actually, if you've been there in Nansana. Really? Anyway, Nansana has developed, actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, why?
It is no. Let's talk facts. It's not the Nansana we knew 10 years ago. It's now developed. Now the government plans to tarmac about 50 kilometers of feeder roads in Nansana municipality, Wakiso district, at a cost of around 200 billion shillings. Now, of course, this was revealed by the State Minister for Kampala and Metropolitan Affairs, Mr. Kabuye Chofo Tagabye, during an engagement meeting with NASA municipality leaders. 200 billion, 50 kilometers, for Nansana people. And of course, government to buy 8 cargo planes. And of course, Uganda will boost the aviation sector with 8 new planes. And of course, a number of Dubai royal family who is also a prominent businessman in the United Arab Emirates says he has already delivered one cargo plane, while other 7 are on their way into the country. Can you imagine investment? So investment.
That is some good news coming in. That is some good news. Remember, we had highlights talking about export and some of the challenges that have been there, as well as some of the key players saying, you know what, if we continue having these struggles in getting this and this fresh produce is rotting, as we watch, we are making substantial losses. Trust me, we would rather use the Kenyan route and take the stuff through Kenya, which has a seemingly better cargo base than Uganda. And you've had quite a number of them. There are quite actually a number of exporters that are taking that route because of the different losses that they've been incurring in regards to this.
Air transport is faster compared to water. And if you remember at the time we had the war on the Red Sea, it disrupted the movement of goods, so I can imagine. So the more cargo planes we have, the more it is easier for us to export. And of course, since now it's Arab Emirates, probably it's going to be, one of the top destinations that we export to, because I mean,
and remember,
and we were in talks with the prince
of Dubai, yes. But remember, we've had lots of opportunities. The potential really is so untapped, in not only just in regards to the fruits, but in regards to beef. Beef. This has been talked about all through last year. And apparently, the reality about it is that sometimes it may not be, the supply from Uganda at the moment may not be sustainable. So lots and lots of efforts have to really be done to tap into this potential. But given that they are enabling the cargo planes, and for that part to really be, that particular part to be taken care of, it would be a good opportunity for the farmers down, the dairy farmers and the other different stakeholders to come in and really get their efforts together and tap into this. It would be some very good money coming into Uganda. Yes.
And of course, I'm seeing here some financial bank here eases access to financing with credit cards. Now, of course, to provide convenient financial services, the bank is encouraging customers to sign up for the credit cards, which offer up to 50% interest-free days. Wow, this is interesting. This commercial bank has been new, actually, so it's trying to
financing, access to financing.
So if you sign up for a credit card, it will be able to offer you 50 interest-free days.
Out of how many days?
I don't know.
Out of the entire bulk?
Probably the entire
out of the entire bulk of days.
Now, of course, I'm also seeing here Stanchart site savers in the 3 billion shilling drive to skill youth with disabilities.
Yeah.
This is one of the groups that is always left out. Can you imagine?
Yes.
It is one of the groups, and they have a lot of potential, they have a lot of capability, and they're intelligent.
Yes, they are. They are.
I think we should also get time and talk about it, because there are very many companies that are biased. You know, you're probably going to come in late, you're going to be slower.
Yeah, I think most of the programs right now are pushing for more inclusivity, especially coming in, because disability is not inability.
Exactly.
And that has been said before. Disability is not inability. But however, even as that is done, the empowerment, it has to really look at some of the impediments. What are those particular structures that continue to impede? You know, systems that continue to impede. Is it about people's attitudes? Can something be done? Because clearly, if they are equipped with these skills, then there must be in tandem that is done to ensure that the people who get to the societies are actually are talked to enable mindset change. But all the same, this is something that we have to talk about as well. Ugandans want single-use plastic banned.
Oh.
Yes, and according to a new survey conducted by Ipsos, most of the Ugandans support a global treaty to address plastic pollution. And they were saying that the majority of respondents found that almost Ugandan participants support specific rules to ensure accountability and action against single-use plastics. Do you know how many times I have found myself actually, you know, just saying, can you put into my bag? Yes, just put, when I'm shopping, can you please put into my bag, especially fresh produce in the marketplaces? Because for every small thing you buy, they are putting into a kavera. Yeah. Every small thing you buy, you can't get back at home and you will find you have over 20.
Tons and tons
over 20, and it's just one person, myself. Yeah. Now imagine for every person that walks in. And no wonder we are flooded. We have so much plastic floating around all over the place. You can't fail to find plastic.
But I like the fact that probably you know these people that collect the plastics.
Yeah.
You know, they take them back to, and they're to be recycled. There are less plastics actually.
But how much of that is actually collected? How much?
I do not know, because they collect as much as possible. I usually see them in the morning, evening collecting. Well, where I come from, you rarely find a plastic.
Really?
Yeah, they
because
collect the
when it comes to bottles, yes,
yeah.
And that's what I was saying. When it comes to bottles, that's a different thing altogether, because those boys they're really active, but also the ones that actually get to link, yes, for the bottle and then crushing it, they do make quite good money. They make millions, okay, of money which comes in. But for the kavera, I haven't yet seen. I haven't yet seen for sure, and you can imagine, because there is a particular, it has to be of a particular thickness, yes, for it to actually make more money, I believe. So you get to see that that most of the buveras are actually not picked up. And there's so many all over the place. Uganda had at one time aggressively begun this, and then it dropped off.
It dropped off because people were, got tired of, I have to walk around with my paper bag, or I have to walk around with the sack.
But Rwanda did quite well in regards to that. Rwanda did quite well and maintained it.
They really enforced their policies. They really implemented them. When they say it, we are banning. The next thing, they get you in prison. Yeah.
I think they fell to the voices of the different investors that were saying, but we came in and
it's just that for Uganda,
invested.
Actually beginning with the legislators, some of them do not even agree amongst themselves. So
how do you think the rest of us will have to say about that? Because one policy cannot be negated, it cannot be thwarted by 2 or 3 legislators, really. If it is in the interest of the entire country, surely it must be pushed off. And given that the neighboring, just our immediate neighbor right now, has been able to enforce this, but even by that time that this particular campaign had started, a couple of supermarkets had already, had already fallen suit, had already gone and decided to actually stop give away.
Yeah,
Yes,
they are.
yes, and
So
had brought in the
I
bags.
know some
Had brought in the
supermarkets
bags,
do
and those particular supermarkets, you get to know that they were using a particular ply of a particular grade of polythene bags. Yes,
yeah, they're still around.
and they're still around. They still have their bags, but it's optional. You have to buy them.
Yeah.
And Ugandans had slowly begun to actually follow suit and say, yes, let's go with our bags. We can do something. We bring back our bikapu. The bikapus had come back, and then all of a sudden, such a wonderful initiative just went backwards. Maybe it's time that it came back, was resumed.
Well, of course, here just as we finalize, here question, will the budget answer Uganda's Vision 2040? Of course, Uganda requires more effort to enforce physical discipline across the budgeting process. Otherwise, the country risks falling short of achieving the Vision 2040 due to low domestic revenue collections and declining donor funds. And of course, you see how the revenue is going to be collected. They are estimating how many?
31.5 trillion by URA.
Wow.
That's an uphill task, considering that sometimes most of the times it's actually fallen short. And just at the very beginning, of course, there was quite a lot of contention in regards to efforts. Just yes. That's a financial year, and those monies have to be realized. But it's expected definitely that there will be tenfold economic growth, that there will be some fruits out of all this.
Oh yeah.
What do you think should be the way forward? I mean, what do you think should be the way forward? Should more Ugandans, we were talking about compliance recently, should more Ugandans get to know the part that they play in regards to this?
You know, you see, in the Bible it was stated very clearly, if Caesar what belongs to Caesar, okay?
Yes.
Pay your dues. You will get the peace. You won't see anyone coming to you and door knocking. Just please, just do what
you're supposed to do.
And then if developments don't come, that's when you start talking. But do your part.
Yes.
Act your part.
And assumedly that those ones in the bracket of 10 million, earning 10 million and above, would you be okay with that, getting to pay almost 3 million in taxes out of your 10 million?
Really, like that's how it is designed. That's how the system is.
Yeah.
So if you're earning 100, then get ready to pay for that much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
We have to get
the idea that was being pushed for those, especially income tax and all that, is that it was a little bit unfair for those ones, especially because they've invested quite a lot, not only in the school, you know, the skilling, the continuous improvement of self to be able to get into that bracket and earn those monies. And then all of a sudden, someone comes in and they're saying they are going to tax quite a huge amount. So they say, so what is the rationale for my studying, for my investing in myself, for my ABCD?
That's why we do not have a lot of return on investment with education. You know, spend millions of money and you're earning 200,000, having paid over 30 million for university, and it doesn't.
It doesn't yield fruit. But the great thing about it is that there's been quite a lot of rechanneling into skilling, and skilling is something that can really get you your job whenever you feel like starting, because you don't have to wait for an employer to come in. That has been quite some news coming in via the press. Please get your papers and get to find out what else you can learn.
I encourage you to have a habit of reading. Please read. You don't just have hearsays. Just read. When you get the chance to, you can go online and read, and even the physical print is also.
And there's even no excuse right now, because everything is just at your fingertips these days. But let's take a short break and we'll be right back after this.